guys, and welcome to another video, and this is actually a prediction video since I will be predicting some of the announcements at the Game Awards with Nintendo specifically and everything, maybe even a couple others, but basically I just wanted to go ahead and say that please vote for Metroid Dread. I really hope Metroid Dread wins, and even though I have a feeling that it won't, I do think it still has a good chance at winning, and I just really hope that game wins, because the Metroid series has been pretty dormant for a while, and I'm glad that we finally got a new Metroid game, and Metroid Dread was amazing. It's definitely in my top 10 games of all time now, and definitely one of my favorite Switch games, so I definitely recommend voting for it. So, with that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and say the things that I expect to be announced at the Game Awards, so that wouldn't really be a huge surprise if they were there, because we've been kind of thinking about these happening for a while. So the number one expectation that should be above everything else in this list is absolutely nothing. I know that's kind of boring, but it's happened before. In 2019, Nintendo Switch had games. Basically nothing. It's kind of ironic that they actually had that commercial there with Nintendo Switch had games, since they didn't really reveal anything at the 2019 Game Awards, and that was right before Nintendo kind of had like a really low output of games in 2020 and had no Nintendo Directs for like a year and a half, which is kind of funny and ironic. But I feel like that's definitely the number one expectations, but I do think there's definitely a possibility we could see something from Nintendo at the Game Awards, since in the past years, except for 2019, there's been at least something, like either if it's a Smash trailer or a new game reveal like Bayonetta 3, or even like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was first shown off extensively at the Game Awards. Well, not really extensively, but the first gameplay trailer was at the Game Awards in 2014. So I definitely think we could see some things from Nintendo, but things that I would expect if Nintendo would happen to have a trailer at the Game Awards is another trailer for Breath of the Wild 2. Like all the other ones from the list down, I'm definitely not going to get my hopes up, but these are definitely things that I would expect to see if Nintendo had an announcement there. But Breath of the Wild, as I said before, was originally shown off with the gameplay and everything at the Game Awards 2014, and I definitely see it possible for us to get a new trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, because they did mention that there was a world premiere based on a game that has been basically kind of worked on for 2.5 years. So I definitely think it's possible for Breath of the Wild 2 to get a new trailer and maybe even a title reveal, but I'm not going to completely expect it. There is definitely some rumors leading towards it, but I really hope Breath of the Wild 2 gets more information soon, and I do feel like the Game Awards would be a good way to show some new information off. And the next couple games are Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Advance Wars, and those, I think that would be really nice if more information on those games gets shown off. Actually, I might say those are a little more likely than a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, because those games are supposed to come out in early 2022, and I definitely think it's much more possible to get like new footage of those games and trailers. And Advance Wars especially, because we didn't really see any new information on the game, and that's just got delayed, so I'm wondering like if we'll get like a release date or something like that. I'm not sure how long they would have delayed it, but I don't think it's too long, I guess, because it doesn't really seem like they would delay that game too long, but we'll just have to see. I do expect Advance Wars to be there if Nintendo has some kind of an announcement, and Kirby and the Forgotten Land also, because I know Nintendo sometimes waits until like the last minute to show more information on the game, like right up until like 2 months before it releases, but I do think it's definitely possible to get more information on Kirby and the Forgotten Land, but I'm not going to entirely get my hopes up for it. And the last thing that I'm really expecting to see, like if Nintendo has anything at all, is a third-party exclusive, because they usually do that a lot. Like in 2020, they had the Ghosts and Goblins remake. They kind of revealed that, which was a third-party exclusive, and that one Capcom arcade thing, and I think yeah, and then Bayonetta 3 was in 2017, and then also the Collection 1 and 2, and yeah, they usually have a lot of third-party exclusive announcements. There's probably more that I haven't mentioned, but those are kind of the most notable ones, and I definitely think it's possible to get another third-party exclusive. So now going into some of the unlikely ones that are still possible, I think, like, still have some way of being possible, but I don't really see it likely that they'll be here. I think they'll probably get more information at a separate event or a Nintendo Direct or just later on. But one game is Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I feel like Pokemon games kind of separate from things like that, especially, like, I mean, they're not even in Nintendo Directs that much, so I don't really think it will be at the Game Awards, unless they're doing something like the Pokemon 25th anniversary or something like that, and they decide to show it there. But I do think it's unlikely, but there is definitely a chance they could still show it, but I just don't really expect it. And Bayonetta 3 is another game that would possibly shown off, but it's unlikely because it just got a trailer right at the Nintendo Direct, but I don't really see it releasing until like fall 2022 because of when it was released, or when the trailer was released and everything. So I think we'll probably have to wait longer, maybe even until E3 to see more from Bayonetta 3. Maybe not that long, maybe the next Nintendo Direct will have another trailer, but I just don't see it happening at the Game Awards. But there's definitely a possibility still. And Metroid Prime 4 is another one. I probably should have put it lower on the list, like maybe even into the next category, but I definitely think that there is still somewhat of a possibility, especially because Metroid Dread is actually one of the awards, and the game has been worked on for like 2.5 to 3 years now. I think it's almost 3 years now that the game restarted development, so it has to be like at least kind of somewhere into development where they could possibly show some kind of short trailer or teaser or something like that, maybe reveal like 2023 or something like that. And it's pretty unlikely, but since Metroid Dread will be there, there is definitely a possibility, but I don't really see Metroid Prime 4 happening until E3 next year at least. That's probably like the first time that I'll actually like hope or expect to see Metroid Prime 4. And finally, one thing that's unlikely but still possible to happen is a new Sonic game, or well, that one new Sonic game that they revealed back in June, and it was revealed, wasn't revealed, but it was leaked to be called Sonic Frontiers, and there's some information that was leaked about it, and I don't really think it will be at the Game Awards, because like there's definitely a possibility that it's not really going to be fully revealed until next year. And don't get your hopes up on this one. I know a lot of Sonic fans are probably going to want to get their hopes up and watch the entire Game Awards, but don't. I don't really think it's likely to happen. But moving on, these are things that are very unlikely, and it's basically wishful thinking. But there is like some sort of reason that I have it on here. So the first one I have here is Warioware or Mario Party DLC. It's pretty unlikely, but the reason I could see it happening is because the Game Awards seems like something that Nintendo won't always push a major game, but could also push DLC, like it pushed Smash DLC. And knowing that WarioWare, and especially Mario Party, did pretty well, especially Mario Party, not really for WarioWare, but still had somewhat of a success, but I definitely could see something like that happening, like with Mario Party and DLC revealed there, but I don't really think that's going to happen until like a Nintendo Direct, so that's why I kind of find it pretty unlikely. And the next one is just ones that I really hope for, like Super Mario Odyssey 2 and Mario Kart 9. Those would be really big, impactful reveals for the Game Awards, but I do think they're pretty unlikely because they really seem like games that would be revealed at either a Nintendo Direct or E3. So, and there really hasn't been a Mario game that was revealed at the Game Awards. Well, it's definitely possible. Like, it could be, like, I mean, there really hasn't been a Mario game to announce at the Game Awards. They've always been announced at a separate event. So I don't really think it's gonna happen. And the final game I have here is a remaster of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, or Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door HD. And the only reason that I put it on here is because Nintendo Switch Online will be putting Paper Mario 64 on there the next day. And I know that's just pretty tinfoil hat, like, basically kind of really weird theory kind of stuff going on here, but I do think that would be really cool if they were just hinting it, like with Paper Mario 64, then they actually reveal like the Thousand Year Door HD coming spring 2022 or something like that. I mean, it's very, very unlikely. I don't expect it to even come out. I don't even expect a TTYD port on the Switch unless they do GameCube games. But I'm just saying, like, I just kind of find it interesting that they put Paper Mario 64 on Nintendo Switch Online the day after, like, everything. So, yeah, just, like, don't expect it at all. Just think it's not gonna happen. I'm not expecting anything from wishful thinking and very unlikely to happen, that category that I had. So, I don't expect any of those 4 things to happen. And I don't even expect anything from those unlikely games, or even the expectations to happen. I'm just gonna go in thinking there's absolutely nothing, and that's how I think you should go into. Don't really entirely watch the Game Awards for the reveals, even though that's like a really big part of the Game Awards, because it would be boring without the reveals. But just because of 2019, I'm still kind of scarred from 2019, just sitting there for 3 hours waiting for a Smash reveal. Just don't go through what I went through, and you don't have to watch the Game Awards for a reveal. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this discussion. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.